Yo, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast episode number 56. That's just me guessing. That's me using my subconscious. I think it's episode 56, and I'm going to use my gut. I'm going to trust my gut. Anyways, guys, this podcast is a very special podcast. I recorded it last night, and last night would have been the 22nd. Tuesday, the 22nd of December of 2020. And then right now, as I'm recording this intro, it's the 23rd. It's like 11:37 a.m. according to my watch. And it's a special podcast. I think, in a way, I didn't really claim it to be this last night when I did the podcast. But I think really what this podcast is about is celebrating. We hit a year. It's already December 23rd. The podcast started last year, December 1st. So we hit a year with the podcast. So I feel like in a way, this is me celebrating that 1 year. And me giving a big shout out and thank you to everybody who's been consistently listening and who's been supporting the podcast. I'm just going to go on a trail real quick and just shout out a bunch of names. But I'm sure there's a lot of other people maybe that I don't name. I apologize. But here we go. I want to say my brother, my mom, my dad. I want to say my friend Carlos Duran, which helped me to come up with the name of the podcast and a bunch of other things. My best friend Osvaldo Peralta, one of my best friends, Aramacio Cardenas. We got my family over in Sacramento, Tia Chayo, Tio Enrique. We got my cousins, Gretchen, Enriquito, my cousin-in-law, Ray. We got my cousin, Kevin, cousin-in-law, Liza. We got my tias. I got a lot of tias. I'm not too sure who listened to it, but thank you to all my tias. Thank you to I mentioned 2 people during the podcast when I recorded last night. I only mentioned 2 people because these 2 people were the 2 people that just came up to my mind. And I know that these 2 people have I've talked to them and they've told me thank you about the podcast on a few occasions. So yeah, my friend Sierra Boyd and my friend Marco, thank you to you guys, which I'll mention you again shortly. We got my friend Vincent, who I know listens to it. He's listened to quite a number of episodes. Thank you. So many people, man. My roommates, my past roommates, George, Drea, Juan, Marissa, Anthony, Jessica. Yeah, thank you so much to everybody who's contributed to this idea in some shape or form. And if you're tuning in for the first time, so much love for you. So much love for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you find some value. This podcast is all about love and livelihood, and really there's no rules to this podcast. There's no rules, just have fun. And it's all about love, man. So if you're about that, you're part of the family already. And yeah, you know where to find us. And you can find some more details in the description of the podcast to get in contact or be on the podcast. And yeah, guys, that's what this podcast is about. Just having fun. I'm just being very innocent and open and playful during this podcast, which I feel like I haven't demonstrated myself like this podcast that you're about to listen to. I haven't been this playful and probably since, earlier episodes when I used to do the solo run raw, which I still, I did one not too long ago, but this one I'm very, very, very playful. And there's going to be a video associated to it. You can watch it on YouTube. So yeah, much love to all you guys. I really hope you enjoy this. This is for everybody. And yeah, I think that's about it. I love you guys and I hope you enjoy. Peace out. Yeah, see, I knew that would be like an issue with this whole saying thank you thing, because I knew new people would keep coming to my mind. But man, I got to give a shout out to every guest that's ever been on the podcast. I'm not going to go through every single name, but you know who you are. I don't know, I haven't done the numbers, but there's been at least individual guests, there's been at least 20, 30, I think. So shout out to everybody. I think I might be able to name every person, but I'm probably going to miss somebody. But you know who you are. If you're tuning in and you've been on the podcast, dude, big shout out to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on here and converse with me. And man, we got some strangers that I used to talk to, and I don't know if any of them are tuning in. But man, shout out to every single fellow human out there. I swear to you, if I did not say your name, but you know you've been a part of this project, like, dude, so much love for you. Just so much love for everybody. For reals. Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Hello. Well, you guys, I'm having a good time this podcast. Nothing serious whatsoever. This podcast is dedicated to everybody, all those people out there that I maybe know or maybe don't know that consistently listen to the podcast. I'm for real. Thank you guys for the people who consistently tune into the podcast. I know there's a few of you that I can think of. I got my homegirl, Sierra Boyd. Got my other homie, I believe his name is Marlo. Damn it. This podcast is not serious, so... And I'm not going to take it back. We're doing this on the first try, but I want to get the name right. I'm talking about a gentleman that I met on LinkedIn. And, I don't know, maybe he wants to stay private, but I want to be respectful here because he's a young gentleman that I get along with really well. Met him on LinkedIn, and he keeps up with the content, and he's told me on multiple occasions that I like your stuff and keep it going, and I appreciate it, and he's shown me a lot of love, so I want to show him the love by at least getting his name properly, you know. Okay, it's not Marlo, it's Marco. I'm not going to tell you his last name in case he wants to keep his identity to himself. But a gentleman by the name of Marco, he's been appreciating the podcast. And now I'm talking like that one dude from Malcolm in the Middle, the guy on the wheelchair. Alright guys, but seriously, thank you so much for the people. I said I wouldn't be serious, but I guess this is me just being me. Thank you so much to all of you who have been consistently tuning in. This podcast will be in the audio form, but also will be in the video form. So if you want to go on YouTube and see the video, you're more than welcome. I'm just in my room, and I've got my computer in front of me. And this really is a completely fun podcast. It's like a weird week. Don't really have anybody to do a podcast with, and I'm still going to put out a podcast. And I had like multiple ideas. I was going to do like a audio snippet of like this random voice memo that I did with my dad, which I recorded our conversation unbeknown to him. And there's like a nice like little cute part where my dad's talking about like self-love and stuff, and talking about like aliens and all this cool stuff. I was going to say crazy stuff, but it's more crazy. I guess it's kind of crazy, but it's also really cool that my dad likes to talk about. He's very much into the extraterrestrial, and he's actually a pretty spiritual guy. He's a pretty cool guy, and he's inspired me. But this is really to say thank you to all you guys. Homie Marco, Sierra. I'm not really too sure, honestly, who listens to this, but like every episode, we have at least like 7 or 8 plays. And maybe the people who play the episode are the people who are just like watching the episode because who happens to be on the guest on the podcast. But even the podcast that I do by myself, it seems like people tune in, and there's at least 7 or 8 people. So thank you. If you're listening and you listen to this podcast quite frequently, you know who you are, and I'm sending you like a giant hug. But I'm not trying to exclude other people who might be tuning in for the first time, or people who don't tune in that frequently. I love you just as much. But I honestly wanted to make this video, and I wanted to appreciate and directly converse or address those people who are on the podcast frequently, because even if I don't know who you are, we're having some type of connection. My words are somehow resonating with your brain, or you know, like the idea of the podcast, the conversations that are on the podcast are somehow resonating with you because you're coming back on. And I just want to say thank you so much. I'd love to hear from you. So if you want to send a message over, you know, at TAOH podcast on Instagram, more than welcome to. But yeah, of course, I do want to bring some value during this podcast. It's not just me talking to you guys the whole time. Although it'd be cool if this was like a live feed, that'd be pretty dope. But obviously, there's nobody here with me right now. What I wanted to do, which is something kind of unconventional, and as I said earlier, I had all these different ideas for what I could do with this podcast. But then I kind of magically came to the decision that I would just make it a really, really laid back, fun podcast. I just click record. This is the first time I'm clicking record. It's not like I try to do the podcast and then we restarted. Like this is completely raw material. And I was actually typing into my journal, which I have it on my laptop. People watching the video, you can see I got my laptop right here. And I was actually just typing in my laptop, just typing in my journal. I journal inside of my laptop sometimes. And I was just like, I actually typed. Let me read you guys what I typed. I quite literally said, let's see. Hold up. Have some patience with me, guys. This is a completely raw podcast. I know we've done raw podcasts. I used to do the solo run raw, which I still kind of do that, but I just don't title the episodes that. I just like this whole podcast, man. It's been very like inconsistent with the way that the content is. I feel like in a way, I used to have like human to human. Then it was like, I had a human to human talking with strangers, talking with the health expert. And then I had solo run raw. Like I had like these 5 different types of episodes. And then I said, okay, well, I'm going to cut out talking with the health expert, and then I'm just going to include them in human to human because we're all humans and I'm not trying to have these categories. And then the pandemic happened, so talking with strangers kind of went out the window, which I figured out a way I could still do that. I could talk with strangers online, meet strangers online, and then have a podcast with them. I haven't done that, but that's an idea. But anyways, that kind of stopped talking with strangers. I cut out talking with the health expert. And then I just kind of threw all the categories out the window. And then now I just title the podcast by whoever the guest is. And then I put like some of the things that we talked about. Anyways, I know I'm going kind of on a random tangent, but that's the point of this podcast. For the people who give a flying fuck and who are interested in me as a person, this is just me having a lot of fun. And I'm not always like this. I'm honestly not like this. If you were to meet me, I'm not always like talking and just being super, super just goofy like I am right now. But I have my moments where I need to expend this completely subconscious, innocent part of me where I'm just being extremely playful. And I want to say that that's kind of the way I live my life. But during the day-to-day, I'm actually like really focused on these like very subtle, like small things, like my strengthening my fingers, playing the piano. I'm always like mobile, like I'm always working on my mobility. I'm always like, I don't know, I'm just a very like, I would say I'm kind of different from most people in some sense, not in like every sense. Just in some ways, I'm just like, yeah, like I'm kind of different. Like, and I'm not saying that even with like an ego associated to it. I'm just saying like, back in elementary school, a lot of times when the freaking bell rang and it was recess, like the whole class went running to the door to get out. And I was always just like, I'm just going to wait until everybody walks out and then I'll walk out. Or we might be in the freaking multi-purpose room and we're all watching a movie. And then as soon as the movie's over and like we have free time, like everyone just starts running to the next place or they start socializing. And I was always like that one kid who would just kind of sit there and I'll just kind of wait till everybody just went. And I'd a lot of times be the last one to walk out of the door. And that was just me. And it was like that up until college. I was in college and I'd be in the chemistry lab and I'd be the last one there and I'd be talking to the professor and like that was always me. I was always the one who like I didn't give a fuck. I didn't have like some big thing that I was trying to rush out the door. Like I was always like, I'm just gonna chill in my chair and then once everybody pretty much walks out, I'll walk out and then I might just stay a little longer and then talk to the professor. Like that's always been me. And then sometimes I go to parties and everyone seems to be like connecting with each other and then I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of observing. I'm not saying that's the way every party's like that. But there's been a lot of parties where it's like that. Like I go to a party and like everyone's just on this frequency and just having this like crazy good time. And I'll just be like just more observing. I'll be observing and I'll be like, oh, okay. Oh man, like look at that over there. And then people are playing games and I'm like, how do you play that? And then they try to explain to me and I'm like, I don't get it. That's not all parties, but I'm just saying. And I think nowadays because I'm like working on my self-awareness since like a year ago, which is like after I graduated college, like now I'm starting to understand how to connect with other people. Now I'm starting to understand, like I have a lot less anxiety and a lot less worry in my brain, so I'm able to like connect. And like if you try to teach me the rules to a game, oh okay, I'm starting to get it. Like nowadays I play chess, I'm starting to get really into that, playing chess, and like I'm playing the piano. I would have never thought I could, even get to the level that I'm at right now at the piano. And it's not okay, it's not like my piano skills for me are like, wow, I'm proud of myself and I'm happy for myself, but I'm not doing anything that would like be insanely impressive to probably most people. But for me, it's a big deal, because for me, for the longest time, I didn't feel like I had the ability to do almost anything like creative. Like I did art back in high school, and I felt like I had some type of like artistry, but it never really felt like I was connected, if that makes sense. And but yeah, in this last year, I took the time I basically made the decision that I was gonna, for the rest of my life and every day moving forward, I was going to pursue my own happiness and take care of myself. And unbeknown to myself at that time, really what I decided was that I was going to love myself till the day I died. And ever since then, everything's changed, and I'm starting to connect. And a lot of the worries that I had, they kind of dissipated, and taking the time to read and learn about the subconscious mind. Shout out to The Genie Within. That's like super awesome book I would recommend to everybody. But yeah, learning about the subconscious and how it works, and how a lot of these voices in the mind are just, really they're just messages. All these voices that you have, even the ones that judge other people and judge yourself, like they're just, it's your animalistic part of you trying to communicate a message to you. Maybe it's an insecurity that's being brought up from your childhood, or maybe you're judging something and being very aggressive about it, and being envious of something and having jealousy because it's just telling you something about yourself, and it's always about you. And it's always like, yo, these voices are not inherently bad or good. They are what they are. And they're just, it's my subconscious, which is highly influenced by external influences, and I'm not going to take these voices personal. I'm going to let them go by, and I'm going to learn from them, and I'm not going to label any thought as good or bad and then get caught up emotionally in them. I'll let them run their course, let them run their course, just as if my brain was a computer. Just like if you had a software being downloaded on your computer, you just let it run its course, and then once it's finished downloading, or once those voices kind of take an ease, you just move on to the next thing. And then, the voices come back, and then you learn from them, and then you keep going on this cycle. And then eventually you get pretty damn connected to your mind and body, and then you have less of these voices. And then, you stop judging these voices, and then you start practicing the affirmation: I do not judge myself, I understand myself. I do not compare myself to others, I learn from others. I congratulate others. I do not judge others, I understand others. And then, if you do affirmations like me, you could also do: I am patient, I am grateful, I am graceful, I love myself. And then, like all these affirmations, you start doing them on a frequent basis. And then these affirmations start to become reality, and then you start to manifest them. And then, some affirmations you stop saying them as often because you move on to saying new affirmations. And then you just start developing this faith and this connection, and then you start to realize that the subconscious is effortless and has a tremendous amount of power. And then you start to look at all the people that you thought were doing like magical, God level stuff, but realistically or in actuality, they're just utilizing their subconscious and they have faith. And this is why a lot of people who are amazing at what they do, they probably believe in God or some higher power because they just have faith in the subconscious. And I'm going on a weird, I'm just going everywhere today, guys. But it seems like this is what I needed. I can't find the thing that I was trying to show you guys that I wrote. There's something. Oh, wait, here. I think this might be it. Okay, this is legit what I just wrote. Oh, wait. Let's see. No, that's not it. Hold up. This is what I just typed up, right? This is just what I typed up. Like, legit, maybe 30 minutes ago. I said, what am I doing with this latest podcast? I am not sure, but the flow of energy will take me there, that's for sure. Maybe old audio, old voice memo, unused content from something in the past. I don't know, but only time will tell. But anyways, I wanted to say hi to you, Christian. I am happy to be you. I know that sounds strange. I am happy to be you, LOL. That sounds super duper funny. Hee 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 hee. But it actually has a lot of depth, that statement. I am happy to be you. Wow, that is deep because it comes from you as he speaks about you. Incredible. That's actually really cute. I feel like I didn't really read that with just being entirely myself. So I'm going to read it again. Let's do it again. What am I doing with this latest podcast? I'm not sure. But the flow of energy will take me there, that's for sure. Maybe old audio, old voice memo, unused content from something in the past. I don't know. But only time will tell. But anyways, I wanted to say hi to you, Christian. I'm happy to be you. I know that sounds strange. I'm happy to be you. LOL, that's super duper funny. But it actually has a lot of depth, that statement. I am happy to be you. Wow, that is deep because it comes from you as he speaks about you. Incredible. Alright, guys, but yeah, that's my subconscious. You guys are getting personal with me right now. My subconscious, because if you read the book The Genie Within, there's a part of the book, it's like 100, page 100, 80, 90, it's like the second half of the book. You basically, the book teaches you how to communicate with your subconscious, and you get to ask your subconscious what it wants its name to be. I know that sounds very strange, but you use your conscious mind to basically command your subconscious to give you a name that it wants by X time. And your subconscious will actually do it. And it was crazy because I asked my subconscious, and I gave it till like the next day, like almost 24 hours. And I literally got my answer. I want to say like it was almost immediate. It was quite almost immediate. Like it was something like I had recently watched that. It was like on Netflix. It was like about those it was based on a true story. It was like a Netflix documentary where like these 4 black kids and like there was one Hispanic kid too, and this was like in New York. I think it was Harlem. Fuck. Alright, I guess it's just audio, the rest of it. It was like in Harlem or something. And anyways, guys, for those who were listening to on the audio, the damn video just cut off. My phone's either low power or the storage just ran out. That's why I said fuck. But anyways, so these kids from New York, and anyways, so basically, in spite of, without getting too deep into the story, there was a Netflix documentary, but it was based on a true story, and one of these kids, his name was Yusuf. Yussef. Yusuf. And I had like recently followed the actual guy on Instagram, and so like after I had asked my subconscious what I wanted, I commanded my subconscious to tell me what it wanted to be named. It was like, I think after I had done that, I went on Instagram or something, and then I see the guy Yusuf. I find his profile, or I ran into it. Okay, That didn't really mean anything. But then all of a sudden, I go on my phone and I go on Spotify and I go to play a particular song by Tom Misch. It was his new album. It's a music artist. And then one of the artists that features on the song that I literally clicked on, his name was Yusuf Days. And I was like, no fucking way. No fucking way. It was like, you know, it happened on Instagram, and then quite immediately afterwards, like, it happened, like, I saw the song, like, the name came up on my phone, like, when I was looking for that song. And the reason I knew it was my subconscious communicating to me was because I've listened to that album, like, a bunch of times, you know? Like, I've listened to that album, and, like, I'd play it all the time. But it was, like, my eyes, like, literally, like, just caught on to the name Yusuf. Like, as I was swiping on Instagram, obviously, like, I saw a bunch of other shit. It wasn't like I already knew to look for Yusuf. It was just like I just happened to see it. And then I go on my phone, and then I happened to go on that particular album. Like, it was like literally like I wasn't even thinking. I just went on that particular album and went on that particular song, and then boom, it said Yusuf on it. And I was like, oh shit, I know my subconscious name. But anyways, that was just to build the context to let you guys know that what I just read to you guys and me being super duper goofy and all that, it's basically, that's my subconscious, and my subconscious name is Yusuf. And so when I type on in my what I call my journal on my computer, I'm in a very meditative state, and I usually almost never have something that I actually, like, I never have a topic that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna journal about this today. Like, it used to be like that. I used to type about mainly, like, what happened during the day and stuff like that. But then it got to a point where, like, what I type, it has nothing really to do with, like, what happened today and let me decompress by writing about it. Although I do that. Sometimes I do that. But most of the time, a lot of times, I'll go on here and I'll just start typing. And it's weird. Like, now I've just gotten used to it. But you could actually just start typing or writing without actually thinking. You just literally go from, like, one word to the next, and then you keep going to the next one, and then eventually you're like what you'll notice, at least what's happened with me, I'm always a goofball when it comes to this stuff. I'm always writing, but then it does have some real shit. I'm usually talking about, like, self-love and self-care and training and my parents and my family and loving people and the universe and blah 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 blah. Like, that's usually where I go. But I thought something interesting for this podcast that maybe you guys would find some value would be if I read to you guys some of my journal entries. I thought that'd be really cool. And for the people, again, like the people who tune in often, like, you know, like, I appreciate you guys, and I feel like you know, you can get to know me even a little better by me being vulnerable. And, you know, like, I'm the host to this podcast. And so if you enjoy the content of the podcast, obviously reading stuff from my journal would be relevant to the podcast, because the podcast in a lot of ways is just like a projection of my mind and the way it works. But anyways, let's get into this. And it's like just super raw, me just like talking right now. Just super raw, like, just me just having fun. Like, that's the whole point of this shit. Like, I'm just having fun with the podcast. Like, at one point I was taking it super serious, and I wanted the perfect audio and this and that needed to get the room soundproofed, and being super technical about the conversations with the guest. And I was trying to, like, prep, and at first I was doing outlines for the guest and this and that. Now it's like I'm not necessarily throwing anything out of the window. It's just I'm doing whatever's natural. And I guess at some point in time that was what I felt was natural. But as I learn about myself, I start to realize, you know, I'm going in a much more simplistic route, and we'll see how things continue to unfold. But I'm here having fun, that's for sure. Let's see here, guys. What would you like to hear about? Oh wait, there's no one that could respond to me right now. But if this was like a live feed thing, that would be what I would do right now. Well, this is like one statement that I made up that came to my mind, which really I thought was awesome. I said, work on making the mind adaptable, not predictable. So the whole idea of that, fuck, my computer's about to fall asleep, so hopefully I'm gonna plug it in. So work on making the mind adaptable, not predictable. The whole idea of that is like you basically just you always want to find the comfort in whatever makes you uncomfortable. So even if it's like just going through your day to day, and then you go to like you go shopping, and then the person like tells you something and they give you a little bit of attitude, and then it makes you feel bad, like you can learn from that, you know? Like work on making the mind adaptable. Like you can learn from that incident and then be like, yo, you know what? Like I wonder why I felt kind of like bad when that person said that thing in that particular way. Like, it must, like maybe it's an insecurity about myself. And then you start pondering on it, and then you find out that the insecurity, you know, is deriving from maybe something like in your childhood. And then then it's like, oh shit, like my older cousin used to talk to me in that same way, and I really like he or she always made me feel like I wasn't worth, or maybe they made me feel stupid, or you know, I don't know. But you know, you could always learn from these experiences. There's always something that you can learn from these experiences. And you know, that's kind of where that comes from. Like work on making the mind adaptable, not predictable. Making the mind adaptable, not predictable. Like, yeah, man, like you always just learn about yourself, and then whenever you have some type of situation, you know, with the universe, and when I say universe, it has to do with, you know, maybe a person, or maybe it's literally you being afraid of, you know, being in a pool, or you know, you being afraid of drowning in water. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always, it doesn't always have to relate to another person, but it's like just always finding comfort in the uncomfortable, and then realizing, you know, what maybe is just not who you are, you know, because so much you can practice all you want to be to get comfortable in uncomfortable situations, but if you realize that the thing you're trying to get comfortable at is just quite literally just not a part of your personality, or it doesn't fit your personality, then you learn that, and by learning that, you become more adaptable, not predictable, you know. And we're getting to like 27 minutes, and I'm feeling like we got about, let's see, I'm gonna read one more journal entry to you guys. I know I haven't really read anything, but this will be the one. This will be the last thing I elaborate on. Let's see, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys about this entry, which this one actually was kind of about something, but it's not like the super random one like I was telling you guys. But let's see, I said, so yesterday I thought of the idea of titling the name of the book that I would like to write to Get Better at What You Love Now. I thought of this since it's really what I have been dedicating my life to since November of last year, and it's quite literally my life now. I have quite literally said to myself, I will die on this path. So yup, it's a big part of me. I feel like it's quite the clickbait of a title, but hell yeah, because if people can get invested into love, then heck yeah. I put the love emoji, or the heart emoji. So the idea is that the thing you most ultimately love is yourself, and inadvertently the universe as well. From one perspective, the love for yourself trumps everything, because without your own emotional stability, how could you love the world? Without love from within, how can you truly give love unconditionally to the world? And me adding on to that right now, it would be like, you know, how you need to love yourself unconditionally in order to love the world unconditionally, in order to understand the world unconditionally, in order to be at peace and harmony with the world, I think. And then after that, I put in quotations, I do not judge myself, I understand myself, which is a affirmation that I practice often. And then I put, well, I took a break and I am on the verge of creating a piece of content regarding the subconscious mind. I am happy about it. December 20th, 2020. And that piece of content that I'm talking about, I did post it online, which was basically, I had made it was like a picture of that affirmation. I do not judge myself. I understand myself. Along with another quote about the subconscious. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I really hope that you guys are doing well. Really, I don't know, man. If there was some way in which we could just like jump into some digital world and just like hang out, that'd be cool. But I'm totally cool with the way things are right here, right now, too, because I don't know. I love my life, and I love the way things are right now. So yeah, guys, I just a big hug for every one of you guys. Yeah, like seriously, send me a message on Instagram at TAOH podcast if you want to just talk, or if you want to be on the podcast. That's pretty much it, guys. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for continuing to listen and giving me, inspiring me in some shape or form to do this, and in a way in which I feel connected to something, to a group of people. And yeah, thanks to those people who have like reached out to me and talked to me, so I appreciate that. But anyways, I can keep thinking for an infinite amount of time, but your boy gonna go. Peace out, guys. Much love.